How you doing, Red Sox fans? A tough day in Red Sox Nation today. Adam Duvall with a fractured wrist. We're going to dive into it. What could be next for the Red Sox? And a tough series opening loss to the Tampa Bay Rays. 1-0 the final. The Rays improved to 10-0. We're going to break it down. How you doing, everyone? Good evening, good evening, good evening. Man, tough day. Tough day for the Red Sox today. A tough game tonight. It felt just like a typical Rays Red Sox game in Tropicana Field. I've been to so many of those, and I've been a part of so many finishes like that, where it's a close game all the way through. You get to the late innings, and then the Rays just end up pulling it out in the end. I feel like it's just deja vu watching these Red Sox Rays games, and feels like it's going to be more of the same this year. But overall, I mean, it was a great game tonight. A pitching duel tonight, just with everyone involved. You know, Nick Pivetta pitched well through 5 innings. The Rays, their bullpen just went to town today. Man, just nothing, no runs really at all, except for the Brandon Lau home run there in the 8th inning. And it just felt like that was going to happen. You know, the Red Sox had their chances, couldn't capitalize. And it feels like every single time the Red Sox have their chances to put across, you know, a dent, and they can't capitalize. I mean, that feels like just baseball in general. If a team can't capitalize on an opportunity, like a bases loaded situation, it just feels like the other team is going to take advantage of it every single time. And that's exactly what happened tonight. I'll get into it here. It's actually not really too much to talk about with this game tonight. A pretty easygoing game for the most part. It cruised right along, under 3 hours, a 1-0 final, and it is what it is. But and we're also going to talk about Adam Duvall. Big loss. Adam Duvall was basically looking like Barry Bonds for the Red Sox so far through the early going of the season. A fractured wrist. He is going to be out for the foreseeable future. I'm going to talk about that and kind of talk about some options. You know, what could the Red Sox do to replace that kind of production? You know, sure, only, you know, we're on 10 games in here into this season, but that was a lot of production the Red Sox just lost. And it's going to be not very easy to replace that production. But I'm going to talk about basically what the Red Sox, what I think they will most likely do, and a couple of other options as well. But before I do get into it, I just want to go over tonight's sponsor, and that is Bet Online. Wherever you go for your sports betting needs, you got to check out Bet Online. They got a lot of great games, a lot of great contests over there. And especially with baseball season underway, you definitely want to go check out Bet Online. Even if it's not baseball, basketball, UFC, we got the NHL playoffs as well. So definitely go check it out. Bet Online. Use the code BLEAV, BLEAV, and you get a 50% welcome bonus. And also, don't forget, sorry about that, everyone. Technical difficulties. But don't forget, we are partners here with SeatGeek. Use my code HYDE and you get $20 off on your first purchase. So let's get into it here. I'm just going to dive into this game. Again, not really a whole lot to talk about in this one. But the one thing I really do want to talk about is this Rays pitching. Listen, I know it's early. And, you know, a lot of things can happen in a season. It's a long season, but the Rays pitching is nasty. It is just watching them just go through this lineup tonight. This Red Sox lineup looked completely off balance the entire night. It couldn't get anything going. You know, Rafi Devers there in the 8th inning, bases loaded, didn't even take the bat off of his shoulder. He just looked completely fooled at the plate. I mean, even Justin Turner in the 9th inning there had a pitch right down the middle of the plate from Pete Fairbanks. Just absolutely nasty. He just couldn't figure him out at all. Like the Rays pitching here, Josh Fleming tonight was looking like Randy Johnson at one point. I mean, this guy was just cruising through this lineup, working quickly, only gave up a hit, 5 Ks against the Red Sox tonight. He looked amazing. Man, just the Red Sox, they look completely off balance. And here's why I think that is. I think the Rays pitching is just on another level, and just watching what they were doing, just watching the movement on all the off-speed pitches, working fastballs in and out, you know, just approaching counts just in different ways. It was just honestly so efficient watching the Rays tonight, and they just moved so quickly tonight. It was honestly pretty impressive to watch this Rays pitching. And I want to take a look here at Fangraphs. And Fangraphs, one thing that they have added is something called the pitching bot. And what the pitching bot is it mainly takes a look at just the stuff of the pitchers, where they look at a whole bunch of different variables. Now, they have a few different things that you can look at with the pitching bot. You can look at simply just stuff, or you could look at how well the pitchers are locating. So when it comes to stuff, they take a look at velocity, they take a look at spin rate, they take a look at horizontal and vertical movement, release points, extensions, spin efficiency, as well as the difference in velocity and movement with the pitcher's primary fastball. If you want to look at just how well pitchers are locating, you can do that. But really all that looks at is just the pitch height and horizontal position at the plate. But I want to take a look here at the stuff. When you take a look at where the Rays are ranking so far this season, it's not including tonight, but coming into tonight's contest, the Rays were leading in stuff when it comes to just the advanced metrics of their pitches. Right behind them, you got the Minnesota Twins, you got the Yankees in third, you got the Blue Jays in fourth, and you got the White Sox as well. Got the Brewers in there, the Marlins are at number 7, Padres at 8, Phillies at 9, and the Reds actually at 10. But right now, the Rays pitching is just nasty, and the numbers are showing it. When you're looking at the advanced numbers, you can look at it with your eyes, and you can also just look at it with the numbers as well. This Rays pitching is on another level right now, and man, you know, it's I'm wondering, you know, if this is what it's going to be like for the rest of the year. Look out for this Rays team. You know, I know this is a Red Sox show here, but this Rays pitching is for real. And hey, I'm very guilty of overlooking the Rays and my offseason predictions. I had the Rays, you know, finishing with a good record, but just missing out on the playoffs. There's a lot of season left. It's April 10th for, my goodness, you know, I'm maybe getting ahead of myself here, but I did have the Rays barely missing the playoffs. We'll just have to wait and see how everything turns out, but that really could come back to bite me. I even said that too when I made that prediction. But hey, just saying, the Kansas City Royals in 2003. Remember, that was a weird time for the Kansas City Royals, a dark time, and they started off 9-0 that year in 2003. Ended up only finishing with a record of 83-79. Now, I'm not saying that's what the Rays are going to do. I'm just saying you never know. These big starts, you don't know how it's going to go. It could very well be that the Rays are just going to be an amazing team this year, but it could also mean maybe they don't even make the playoffs. We'll just have to wait and see. But overall, the Rays are looking really impressive right now. Now, I got to, you know, give credit here for, you know, sure, the Red Sox lost this one, but, you know, the offense, they just had nothing tonight. 3 hits here. They just couldn't get anything going. But I really want to give a lot of credit here to Nick Pivetta. He's, you know, been a little up and down so far in the early goings of the year, but he really came to pitch here tonight. 5 innings, 3 hits allowed, 6 strikeouts overall. He looked good here. He looked like a guy that wants to hang on to his rotation spot. His rotation spot has been a little in question, a little in doubt with a lot of these guys coming back. Whitlock will be back tomorrow. I'll get into that here in just a little bit. But Brian Bayo is on the mend. James Paxton is even starting to pitch a little bit here in the minors, getting his rehab assignment going. So when these guys come back healthy, you know, Nick Pivetta has been the one guy people have been looking at to where, okay, is Pivetta really going to be in this rotation? We're going to have to wait and see, but he pitched well tonight. He looked like a guy that wants to hang on to this spot in the rotation. He's been a bulldog for them over the last couple of years, just logging innings. Hasn't, you know, last year was an up and down season for him, but he did look good here. I'm hoping he's going to keep this going for the next few starts, and we'll just have to see how the rotation rounds out when all of these guys are healthy and coming back. But in the end, Chris Martin came in there, and he just gave up the go-ahead home run to Brandon Lau. You know, Brandon Lau's off to a really good start this season. Not surprised to see him do damage here late in the game. Winkowski, hey, give credit to him as well. Winkowski is looking really good. He's looking great. To me, Winkowski could be this year's John Schreiber. You know, with Winkowski, this is a guy, remember they got him in the trade with the Andrew Benintendi trade, you know, in the 3-way deal that sent Benintendi to the Royals. You know, Winkowski came back in that deal, if my memory serves me correctly. I can't remember. Am I wrong about that one? I think he came back in that deal. But this was a guy where, reading on the scouting reports when we first got him, looked like, a guy that had some decent stuff, decent velocity. He's just looking really smooth out there. When he's coming into these games, he's just looking like a guy that's comfortable with his mechanics. He's just throwing. Right? He doesn't seem deterred by anything right now. Loving the way Winkowski is looking out of this bullpen. I think he could end up being a huge weapon for the Red Sox this year. And that mustache is absolutely amazing. What can I say? But taking a look at one more thing I want to take a look at. Pivetta did mention this. I got to say here, Pivetta, I don't know what we're talking about here. I don't know. But saying here, Chris Cotillo was reporting this. In passing, Nick Pivetta noted tonight that the pitch clock is way too fast. I don't know, man. I'm tired of hearing about this pitch clock thing. Come on, we got to put it to rest. It's obviously good for the game here. I understand maybe some people think maybe you could, extend it just a little bit. But listen, it seems like this is doing really well for the game right now. And Pivetta, I don't know. I just feel like, I don't know. You're coming off of a loss. Like, sure, he pitched well tonight. It's kind of one of those things to me. I don't know. It's just not one of those things you say, coming off of a loss. I don't know. That's just me. It's just like, Pivetta, you pitched well tonight. Why are we even, making any kind of complaints? That's just me. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I can understand, pitchers if they're feeling a little rushed. But listen, you got to adapt. You got to adapt here. This is the name of the game right now. You got pitchers out here like Max Scherzer. He loves the pitch clock, and Max Scherzer is going to go down as one of the best pitchers of all time. Pivetta, hey, listen, I get it. Maybe it's a little frustrating right now, but we got to adapt here. I respect your opinion here, but overall, I think it's been really good for the game of baseball. Other pitchers are doing just fine, and they're doing well, and a lot of pitchers are liking it as well. That's just my opinion. Kind of just wanted to throw that out there. But in the end, Rays taking game one. Like I said, the Rays, their pitching is looking fantastic, man. And, hey, the Rays coming into this game, they're just blowing out guys left and right. They were the first 9 games, they had won by at least 4 runs. Now, granted, they were going up against the Nationals, the A's, the Tigers. So a lot of people are like, okay, here we go. This Red Sox team, they've been hitting the ball well. Let's see what they can do here. The pitching really stepped up. But now, this is one thing we've seen now with the Rays. They went up against some decent pitching tonight, and they were still able to find a way to win the game. This is how the Rays were a couple of years ago. They found ways to win games. They just battled you until the end. They've always been this pesky team. The Rays have always been one of the most frustrating teams ever since 2008 when they, turned around their franchise. Good grief, this team just boggles my mind with how resilient they are. And once again, showing it tonight against the Red Sox. But besides the loss tonight, some terrible news. Adam Duvall, a fractured wrist. If you have been living under a rock over the last 24 hours, Adam Duvall went for a sliding catch out in center field in Detroit yesterday, and on the slide, his wrist rolled under him. Didn't look good, and that was also the wrist that he had surgery on last year that cut his season short with the Braves after he ran into the wall in a game, I believe, against the Angels. But so a lot of people were kind of thinking the worst here. I knew there was something there. Like, to me, when you see a wrist kind of roll the way it did, like under him like that, you just need, at least to me, I heard a lot of people out there saying, oh, hoping for the best, hoping he's, going to avoid being out for a while. I knew immediately, like, this guy's going to be out at least a month, at least. And now I'll be honest with you, I wasn't expecting a fractured wrist. I was expecting, hopefully just like a sprained wrist, hopefully out for just like a month or so. But now we have no idea when Adam Duvall is going to come back. Taking a look here, Chris Cotillo also tweeting out this a little earlier. It did say, Alex Cora did say that he does not need surgery. With a fracture, it seems like it's non-displaced, so that's good news there. That's good news. So we'll have to wait and see how long it'll take. Now, when we're looking at recovery time for distal radius fractures, they can take around 3 months or so to heal before you return to all activities. So hopefully the All-Star break might be a little soon. Hopefully maybe around the trade deadline, we could see him back. Hopefully at least August, I would expect him to be back. So that is, I think, probably a safe bet. Hopefully we can see him back a little sooner. We'll just have to wait and see. But overall, with Adam Duvall, this is a lot of offense that the Red Sox are losing. Now, granted, it was 8 games. Who knows, 20, 30 more games under his belt. Who knows if he was still putting up these he would not be putting up these kind of numbers. He would have cooled down eventually. But it was incredible what he was doing here. Over 8 games, 37 plate appearances. He was hitting .455 with a .514 on base and a slugging over 1,000, a .314 WRC plus. He had a Fangraph WAR of 1.0 already through 8 games. That is just absolutely incredible. What a run that is, man. He was just setting the world on fire. If we take a look here at the overall leaderboards in Fangraph WAR, he was number 1, tied with Matt Chapman. Matt Chapman's been going off here as well for the Toronto Blue Jays. But Adam Duvall, just on another level, easily the best offensive player in all of Major League Baseball this year. So what do the Red Sox do here? And also one more thing to note, it really felt like the Red Sox were missing a bat tonight. Did anyone else feel like that? It felt like kind of like the air was taken out of their tires a little bit. And you felt like there was just a huge piece missing. It felt like that. I'm pretty sure everyone else felt that too. But what do the Red Sox do here? Okay, so as of right now, tonight, with the lineup tonight, Kike was still at short. You saw Refsnyder out in center field. Also, give credit to Rob Refsnyder. He played a good center field tonight. He made a really good catch. Randy Rosarina there looked like he maybe had a possible gapper there for extra bases, and Refsnyder ran it down. Hey, give him a lot of credit. He looked pretty good out there tonight. So I'm completely okay with Rob Refsnyder getting some playing time. I do feel like that is the way the Red Sox are going to approach this. Especially in the early going. And one thing I will say as well with Adam Duvall, having this injury, thank God it happened right now, right? It's April 10th. We got a lot of season left. There's a lot of time, but, at least the Red Sox can try and figure this out. You're in the early goings, they're going to, really just plug in guys. They're going to go with the platoons. I could definitely see that. But Refsnyder, not surprised for him to get the start tonight against the lefty. But I do think you are going to see mostly Raimel Tapia and Refsnyder do a bit of a platoon out there. I'm okay with that. Let's see how that goes. Tapia, he'll get at bats against the righties, and Refsnyder will get at bats against the lefties. But also some news was that Bobby Dahlback was called up for this game. Look at Bobby Dahlback tonight. He actually had a pink shade appearance here. Actually had a base hit, but Dahlback coming in with the glasses. I love it, man. He's just looks like a completely different dude. But Dahlback, listen, we all know what happened with him last year. 2021, he was pretty solid. Had a slugging percentage of .494 that year, but everything dropped last year. .494 slugging in 2021 dropped to a .369. So we all saw how bad that bat was last year. But the one thing with Dahlback that they have been doing is that they've been playing him in other positions in the infield. They're trying to, turn him into more of a utility guy, where he's actually started a couple games at shortstop for the Woo Sox. He's played at second base. He's been getting some starts over at third as well. We know he can play first. So the Red Sox are trying to turn him into a more versatile infielder. So if this guy, and the one big thing with Dahlback is I think the biggest thing with him overall is that they're just bringing in another right-handed bat. You just lost a right-handed bat with Duvall. And I think that is the main purpose of Dahlback here, is simply just the right-handed bat. Now, sure, can he, maybe come in at shortstop here and there? Yeah, sure, why not? I don't think he is going to be the everyday shortstop moving forward. You could have Kike, move out to center field, and then people have said, Bobby Dahlback could be the shortstop moving forward. I don't think that's what the Red Sox do. Kike actually looked pretty smooth out there at shortstop. Actually, one inning, I can't remember if it was the 7th or the 8th inning, had a couple of good plays out there. There was one play, he had to go across his body. He had to run down the ball going the opposite way. That was going to be a hard play for any shortstop to finish. But overall, he looked really smooth on that one. And then there was the other one where he had a good stop there, and he threw it to second base to get the out. He looked a lot better at short, and I think he's had his struggles a little bit here in the early going. I think 5 errors to start off the year. Even Alex Cora has said he looks very robotic out there, but he looked smooth there tonight. He looked a little more loose. I don't think Dahlback is going to be like the shortstop with Kike moving out to center. I don't see that happening. I think Dahlbeck is just going to get at bats here and there. He's there, I think, for the right-handed bat. That's what I think. So, but it's important though that he can play other positions so he can get into the lineup, in other positions as well. And don't forget, you do have a guy like Yu Chang. I do think he is going to be really just, more of the bench guy. I think he could get a start here and there. But the one thing with him is, and that's what the Red Sox have been doing over the last couple of years. They're trying to give this team more versatility. Alex Cora loves the versatility. And, so there's no surprise that the Red Sox ended up giving Yu Chang a roster spot, to start off the year because he can play all over the infield. It says here on Fangraphs, first base, second base, third base, but he can play shortstop as well. Now, another option here is, could you go with Jarren Duran? Remember, Jarren Duran, tough season for him last year. He showed some glimpses here and there where this was a guy, we know what he can do. He's an electric player when he's right, but last year was just a struggle for him. That one play in Toronto, I think, or not in Toronto, but against Toronto, where the Raimel Tapia inside the park home run, Jarren Duran has his hands up. He has no idea where the ball is, and the ball lands on the warning track. Raimel Tapia inside the park home run. Duran had a tough year last year. He had a couple of moments there where he looked all right, and he was coming through in some big spots, but overall, it was abysmal, and Red Sox fans were none too happy. But this year, starting off in AAA, he's looked okay. The 238 batting average is not looking great, but a 407 on base so far, a 571 slugging, has a homer, has a double, has a triple as well down in AAA so far through 6 games. But the one thing with Duran is he has worked on his mechanics. He's a little quicker to the ball now. His hands are in a different position in his batting stance, so that's where he's able to just get his hands to the ball, hit the bat to the ball a little quicker. And, people are happy with that. The Red Sox have commented on that, and they're saying they're very happy with how Duran has, worked on his mechanics. But could you go with Duran? I honestly think right now they're going to stay away from him because one thing with the Red Sox, if we take a look here over the next few games with the Rays, you got a lot of lefties coming up. You got Shane McClanahan and actually Jeffrey Springs. He is a lefty, right? Going blank. Jeffrey Springs is a lefty. Oh my goodness, went completely blank. But you got Eflin, who is a righty there, but you got 2 more lefties in this series, and then you got Patrick Sandoval, and then you got Tyler Anderson, and then you got Reed Detmers, and then you got Jose Suarez. You got 5 straight lefties there, and then when you go against the Twins, starting on April 18th, you got Sonny Gray, Joe Ryan. So there's a lot of lefties coming up for the Red Sox right now. I feel like Jarren Duran, they're going to let him kind of try and get into a rhythm here with the Woo Sox. I would not be surprised to see him with the Woo Sox for a little longer this year, really build up that confidence. Even when you get past all these lefties, I could definitely see them still not going with him. I don't think we're going to see him immediately. I think he's going to be with the Woo Sox here for a little bit. So don't expect any Jarren Duran call-ups anytime soon. Because you got to remember here with Jarren Duran, he was also going through some mental health stuff. He was really feeling the pressure last year. He even made comments about it publicly, saying that he had a hard time mentally last year. It is what it is. But I think the Red Sox, they're going to give him the time in the minors, keep working on that swing, and I think we do see him eventually. How soon? Not quite sure, but I wouldn't expect him in, at least in the next couple of weeks, I would think, or at least in the next week, easily. But there is another option here. There is another option. Now, there has been some talk here on Twitterland, my favorite place on earth, Twitterland. But there have been some suggestions, and one suggestion that has been coming across in Red Sox Twitterland is possibly Tyler O'Neill. And this is an interesting one because Tyler O'Neill, you're probably thinking, Tyler O'Neill, I mean, was really good a couple of years ago for the Cardinals, had a down year last year, was going through some injuries. But why would the Cardinals even think about even trading Tyler O'Neill? Well, if you go back here, not too long ago, Tyler O'Neill was actually benched for the St. Louis Cardinals. Oliver Marmol benched him after what he thought his base running was unacceptable. He was on second, there was a base hit, he rounded third, and it seemed like he was going a little slow, like he was kind of, taking his time a little bit. And, you can go watch it for yourself. You can you can draw your own opinion on that. But Oliver Marmol felt like his hustle wasn't really there, and then he ended up getting thrown out at home plate. So Oliver Marmol said, hey, it's unacceptable. You're going to be riding the bench. So supposedly they had a bit of a tense altercation, a bit of a not so happy conversation in the manager's office. And but Tyler O'Neill, he's actually been saying that he wasn't not hustling, and he felt like he's always been a guy that hustles out there. He always plays his hardest, and he even made comments about this a few days ago. I'm not going to play the video. I don't want to get hit with any copyrights from Bally Sports, but he says here these conversations could have been in-house and not gotten out on the loose like they have. Should have been handled a little differently, in my opinion. But in the video, he goes on to say that he's always hustled, throughout the minor leagues. And that's something that he takes pride in. And he feels like almost in a way like insulted if people say that he doesn't hustle. But if you could take a look at the video, it didn't look like to me that he wasn't hustling. What it looked like to me is a guy that was kind of guarding a little bit. What do I mean by that? Well, Tyler O'Neill last year, he was going through some hamstring injuries. So to me, this is a guy with a long season ahead, probably wants to be a little cautious. So I think he was a little cautious rounding the bases. That's what it looked like to me. Maybe from a distance, Marmol thought like, okay, this guy's not hustling. But when you just kind of look at the body language of him, he didn't look like, Robinson Cano or like Manny Machado, just jogging to first base. He didn't look like that. He looked like a guy that was being a little careful rounding the bases, probably not wanting to, bug any hamstrings, not set those off again. He wants to have a long season. That's what it looked like to me, personally. I can understand where Oliver Marmol is coming from, but, anyway, I digress here. The fact is that he got benched. So a lot of people are thinking, okay, Tyler O'Neill, Oliver Marmol don't have a great relationship right now. Could Tyler O'Neill be a trade candidate? Well, if you go back here, I actually put out a tweet even before any of this back in January. Baseball Trade Values, the best baseball trade simulator out there. I put together a trade on here. Now, I wouldn't do the same exact trade, but it's just kind of funny how, these trade possibilities are popping up again. And one trade that I suggested back in January was Tanner Houck and Bobby Dahlback for Tyler O'Neill and Paul DeJong. At the time, we didn't have a shortstop, and then we ended up signing Adalberto Mondesi. So this is not on the table. But could you possibly get a conversation started if maybe you say, hey, Cardinals, what's going on? How you doing? Hey, well, what do you think about Tanner Houck, maybe Jarren Duran? What do you think about that for a Tyler O'Neill? Well, as you can see here, the values, remember, when it comes to baseball trade values, you can have a lower threshold when it comes to a player's value, and you can also have a higher threshold as well. Remember, it's a bit of a range. The median value, the in the middle value for Tyler O'Neill is right at around $31 million right now. But that could go as low as around $25 million, or that could even go as high as, say, like $34 million. But now with Tanner Houck, now the Cardinals right now, they've been having, with the, Adam Wainwright, he's still, working through some things. Jack Flaherty is always a health risk. Steven Matz was going through some stuff last year. If the Cardinals feel like they need a little bit more starting pitching, could you make a call about Tanner Houck, who right now I could see a lot of Red Sox fans saying, they don't want to give up Tanner Houck. And I'm completely understanding of that. But if you do want to get a bat like a Tyler O'Neill, a right-handed power bat who would fit perfectly at Fenway Park, and he can play some center field. Remember, with Tyler O'Neill, he was mostly a left fielder, but he is actually playing center field this year. He can go out there in center field and get the job done. His bat would be amazing at Fenway Park. Let's just say that right now. And the Cardinals, hey, if you offer up a young starting pitcher with like Tanner Houck, who is also originally from the St. Louis area, I'm just saying, and Jarren Duran, maybe, with what he was going through last year with, just kind of what he was going through mentally, maybe a place like St. Louis could be, Boston's a pressure cooker of a town. It's not, I've never played, obviously, with the Boston Red Sox. I'm just a doofus that sits at my desk. But, when it comes to playing in Boston, there's a lot of pressure there. People are very passionate. Red Sox Nation, they're very high on their team. Maybe Jarren Duran, maybe that would be a better spot for him. So could maybe this trade get the conversation started, at least? I would probably say no. I would probably say no. The Cardinals, they like Tyler O'Neill. He's a good, young, right-handed bat. And they do have a deep lineup right now. So, I don't know. I feel like would the Cardinals want to mess with this lineup? That could be just one of the best offenses in all of baseball this year. But if they do feel like they need some pitching, could this be a route that you go? So, Red Sox fans, Cardinals fans, let me know in the comments here. Do you think this can start a conversation? Do you think this trade as is looks pretty good? Let me know what you would do of this. Cardinals fans, would you want to trade Tyler O'Neill? Let me know in the comments. So, but overall, I don't think this trade ends up happening. I'm just kind of talking about it because it's a possibility, right? It's always an option. Maybe you can make a phone call somewhere and see if a player is available. I don't see that happening. I see the Red Sox more going, with platoons. I see them going with Rob Refsnyder, going with a Raimel Tapia. You got Bobby Dahl back, a right-handed bat off the bench. You still got Yu Chang there, who's there, I would say, more for defense at this point. But in the end, I think the Red Sox, they are going to have a bit of a tough time. Refsnyder, Tapia, sure, I like those guys, but the impact that Adam Duvall was providing for this Red Sox team, you felt the impact. It wasn't just what he was doing, but it was also, in a way, taking pressure off these other guys, right? It's kind of, the lineup felt relaxed. It felt easy going because it felt like the lineup was just kind of just feeling good, right? And Duvall was just taking a lot of pressure off. And now that he's gone, and it felt like this lineup was really pressing tonight. Is that more of the Rays pitching? As we can see here, they are, we looked at the numbers. They are ranking first when it comes to their stuff overall this year. So was that more the Rays pitching? Was that the Red Sox offense kind of feeling the pressure a little bit? Or was it a bit of both? I always like to say it's a combination of things. So I'd probably lean more towards both. But we're going to have to see where this offense goes in the next few days, over the next couple of weeks. Could we maybe see a move? I don't know. I'd probably say more likely no. We're probably not going to see any trades anytime soon. And I don't know. We're just going to have to wait and see. But let me know what you think down below in the comments. Let me know here because we still got a few more games of this series. And Duvall is not going to be easy to replace. I'll say that right now. It was fun while it lasted. That walk-off home run, that was special with Duvall. Man, it was crazy watching him over the first couple of weeks here of the season. But everyone, that's all I got here for tonight. Just going to do a quick episode tonight. Nothing crazy. I'm going to start picking it up a little bit on these Red Sox, the Believe in Red Sox episodes. And as well as just the main baseball streams that I do every Wednesday and Sunday. I'll be doing just overall Major League Baseball. Probably doing one more as well. Probably looking more towards Thursday nights where I do like a Q&A, hot take, where I get you, the viewer, involved. And I'm probably looking at maybe, at least every Monday doing the Red Sox podcasts and maybe one more night as well. Right now it's just a very busy time. I work full time. I have a day job as a teacher. So, it's just kind of trying to find the spots to fill in everything. So, bear with me, but I will be getting a bit more going here on the Red Sox podcast. So, everyone, thank you for joining me tonight. Everyone, please, if you can, I will love you forever if you can hit that like button for me. Subscribe if you are new. Please share the stream. Let's get this out to other Red Sox fans out there. But everyone, go have yourself a great night. Go have yourself and enjoy the rest of this series. Hopefully we get a series split here. We got a couple more games here, a few more games. I think the Red Sox, they can pull this out. Will the Rays ever lose a game? We will just have to wait and see. But everyone, go have yourself a good rest of your night. Shake off this loss. I think we'll be okay. Have yourself a good one, everyone.